This right here is the Kugoo Kirin G3. It's a powerful off-road scooter. Rear-wheel drive, rear hub motor, up to 1200 watts output this one, so very powerful. And it can propel this scooter up to 50 kilometers per hour. I'll be testing out the top speed in this in-depth review. I'll be taking it off-roading. I'm up here in the mountain with some light gravel trails here that are a little bit rocky, and I'll see how the G3 is going to perform with this. Now with this scooter here, we've got 10.5-inch wheels. They are 2.75 inch wide, and you can see they've got a really nice off-road chunky tread pattern to them. So clearly designed to be taken a little bit off-road, giving us a lot more traction than road tires. Along the rear here, we do have a mud guard, and it's the same deal. We've only got around about an inch and a half of travel. We do have a sturdy kickstand that can support the 25 kilo weight of this scooter, and a rear tail light. Now I really do wish that this tail light was a little bit brighter, the LEDs that they used within it. The side strips, these do light up. So we have in total 7 LEDs, and you can cycle through the different modes with the scooter to have just the front on, or the front and rear, and the sides too. And both the front and back, we have mechanical disc brakes here. I would have personally preferred hydraulic, but as you see later on with my brake test, they actually do perform quite well and give us sufficient braking distances. The motor used in the G3 here is a powerful 1200 watt one. Now we do have with this an 18 amp hour battery with ranges claimed up to about 75 kilometers, which are possible if you're riding mostly on the flat in mode 2. On the right, you'll find our charging port here. There is a little dust and waterproof cap that goes over that to keep any muck out of it. Now the charge time of the 18 amp hour battery is around about 10 hours. Now up the front, we have a reflector here. Now this does screw out and allow us to fold down and collapse the handlebars for easy stowage, or to get it into a car, for example. Now the way this slots into place and then is screwed in, it's very tight. There's no play in this. It is not going to go anywhere, and I really do like it. It makes it feel more sturdy and safer than other designs of larger scooters that I've reviewed. Now the deck on this one is wide enough for my feet without a problem, but I do wish it went a little bit longer, a bit further back. But we do have this kick on the end of it. That is great for, of course, the rear tail lights, but not only that, you can use it to quite easily pull wheel stands with relative ease. Now we don't have any lock grips with this one, but they're all right. They're not going anywhere. We've got our power on button, accelerator. This is our front brake, and then a very large display with all our information. So we've got our current, motor, temperature, and kilometers done. That's the odometer. And that right there is our voltage. Battery remaining percent here, 61%. Speed, obviously, you can change this into miles per hour. We can cycle through the 3 different light modes. So front light only, front and rear, and then all of the lights, which includes the side lights. There's going to be 7 in total. Now the mode, that's to go through our different power modes. So mode 1, tapping that's just up to 25 kilometers per hour. Mode 2 is 35 kilometers per hour. Mode 3 is 50 kilometers per hour. Maximum acceleration to that. Now holding this down, we can enable the cruise control mode. So it will lock that speed as long as you leave the accelerator down for 3 seconds. And here we do have a kickstart disable mode, which is currently on. I find that a little bit dangerous. If you hold set, you can disable that, which is by default. That's turned off. That means if I press this now, nothing is going to happen. But if I do disable the kickstart, you can simply just press down on the accelerator and away you go. Over the side here, we have a bell, okay? And it doesn't seem to be working on my one. For some reason, it's broken. Oh, there we go. I need to release it, flick it off. And then our rear brake, which also enables the electric brake. Right, now onto my actual tests of this to tell you a little bit of what it's like to ride the G3 here. So we can either set this to be kickstart mode on. For safety, I think it's best. So if you just push that trigger, nothing is going to happen, which is, I think, is safer, because you could accidentally knock it when it's on and it will just take off and end up ripping out your shoulder blade or hurting you or running off. So I don't have that disabled. So you need to kick off a little bit, and then you simply press down and away you go here. So I'm currently in mode 1. Now mode 1, that is going to get me up to 25 kilometers per hour. That is the maximum speed there. We also do have mode 2, is up to 35 kilometers per hour. And then mode 3 is right up to 50, 54. In an empty car park with no one around, I will of course test out the top speed, not around somewhere like this. So I'm going to keep it in mode 1 here. I'm not too sure what she's laughing at. So it's very, very smooth here and really quite nice, just cruising along. You can enable the cruise control mode too as well, which was now I've locked in that speed. So I do have a little bit of rough terrain here, but I'm going to take it off-road properly soon, but just to see what it's like with this bit here. So a bit of a drop, not a problem for these nice chunky wheels to go down here with that nice tread pattern, and now a bit of a climb here with some light gravel and just a few stones. It's really easy for this. So it just goes up this tiny little climb here with absolute ease. Nothing like those smaller scooters which tend to struggle a little bit. This is cruising along nicely without any problems at all. So you can hear that motor a little bit. When you get up to the higher speeds, you definitely hear the chunkier tires making quite a bit of noise with their rolling resistance not being so great on the road, but it's good that you can be heard too when you're going along. All right, so here we go, mode 3. Now the screen will probably be a little bit hard to see with my GoPro, but I'll be reading out the speed to you. So let's go, kick off, accelerate, 20 kilometers, 30, 33, 35. It's very windy at the moment, 40. This is the only place I'll do these kind of speeds is in an open car park like this. So up to 47. Running out of road, but you can get it up to 50 kilometers per hour, which is pretty crazy to be going at that kind of speed on only 10.5-inch wheels. Okay, so what about braking? Top speed can get up to 50, slightly over. So I'm at 40 now, and I'm going to slow down a little bit to about, well, there we go, 40. From this point on, maximum braking, and look at that. It just stops. That's nothing. It stops so quick. That is literally 3 scooter lengths it takes to stop this thing at 40 kilometers per hour. So even though it's just mechanical disc brakes that this has, I find they perform really well. You can probably hear those tires now make a little bit of noise. So very easy going along here, nice and smooth, nice and wide, and really happy with the braking performance here. So I've made it to the end of the coast, and after this I'll head up to the mountain. Quite a big climb, but take it off-road and see how it does perform. So ahead of me I have a very tricky climb. As you can see, it's rough terrain, it's all gravel, loose rock. I'm going to have to select my path carefully. So I'm using mode 3 here, and that should be able to get me up this. But let's see how it fares. I'm going to kick off to start with, then accelerate. Now I've got a couple of little curbs or little jumps to go up. Okay, a little bit of slippage then, skidding out the back wheel, but it's doing this really well. Currently about 20 kilometers, full throttle here. And there's no way you could do this on a little Xiaomi scooter. So let's see how we go up this bump. Whoa. Oh, just doing this. And be careful, of course, turning on loose gravel, that the front wheel's not gonna skid out. But hey, this is doing a really good job of going up and navigating here. This very rough terrain, lots of loose gravel, rocks. So it can do a little bit of off-roading like this, as long as it's not too lumpy, too bumpy, and just light gravel, which I have here. Now the final verdict on the G3 here is I think that this is a fantastic scooter. It's really good. The build quality is excellent. I love the top speed. It's very fast. It can get scary fast, and that's why I have a full face helmet and I've been riding it around here off-road. So it can get up to, as I showed you, about 50 kilometers per hour. In fact, over that at times. So really, really quick and dangerous. So this is not a toy here. So the brakes on it, even though they're just mechanical disc brakes, I did not expect them to be as good as they are. They're actually not bad at all, and I would not have a problem, and I don't think I would want to upgrade them to hydraulics because you probably wouldn't notice too much of a difference. I don't think it's actually needed there. So the chunky tires did help a lot with, especially around this area going up the loose gravel parts. definitely a lot more grip than road tires would have been slipping a lot, and it probably wouldn't have been possible for me to climb up here without just bogging down and skidding out completely. Now you must be very careful with that front wheel on the loose gravel. If you do intend to do a bit of light off-roading on this or on gravel roads, just be careful on those loose patches. That front wheel has a tendency to want to get away from you, and if you brake on that front wheel, especially if you ride off-road bikes, you know what I'm talking about. Loose gravel is super dangerous for front wheel braking. You just don't do it because it's going to go like that, okay? And you'll face plant the ground. So full face helm, highly recommended. Protection gear, knee pads and things like that too if you want to go a step up, if you're going to be taking a few risks there. Now, the travel on it is the biggest criticism from me with this suspension setup, if you can even really call it suspension. It's more of a dampness system. So it gives us about 1.5 inches of travel. And really, I feel for a heavy scooter like this, well, it adds to stability when you're doing the high speeds. It feels very stable. You don't get any speed wobbles. Going up and over bumps and things or tiny little potholes, you really do feel it. And I wish it was just a little softer, the suspension. It is a bit rough going at times with it. I also do wish that it had an ignition here, removable key, so you could turn it off and then no one can just power it on, because as it is right now, someone can come along and just simply press the button, power it on and take off and go. I love the large display on this. We've got great lights at the front. The back light could be a little bit better. I do find this one to be a little dim. I mean, it's better than nothing, but I really wish they'd put a more powerful LED in there for the lights. So there we go. That's the full story of the Kirin G3. Oh, range, I'm able to get at least about 70 kilometers out of this one. And at times, I'm only losing 10% battery per 10 kilometers. So I could see this using it on the flat, that is, of going for up to maybe 80, even 90 kilometers. Of course, it depends on the rider's weight there. So thanks a lot for watching this review. I do hope to see you in the next up-and-coming e-bike and scooter reviews from me.